Good morning.
Good morning. Do you have an extra paper?
Well, Mr. Crawford, we have your appeal, and we've all looked at it, so we'd like to hear what you have to say to supplement what you've written down.
First of all, that says I'm retired. I stay in two habit for the older people. So basically, I do have the handicap sticker on SSD, and I had it upstairs during that time. There was a lot of like maybe going in cars and driving. So once I got upstairs, I forgot about to put it in the car, and I wasn't coming back down because of all the stuff that was going on. But like I said, I do have a sticker. I just would have to put it in, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I don't have that much money anyway. I'm gonna fix income. So.
Sure.
Are we good? What we're going to do is we'll make a decision. We will mail you our decision, and you should get that probably within a week.
All right. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming in,
Yes,
sir.
sir. All right, then. Thank you.
Ms. Pettis, what is your name? Come on over.
Yeah, you got any extra paper for me?
Good luck.
Oh, I don't even have that. You could-
See?
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like with the gentleman before you, we've looked at what you submitted, and if there's things that you may want to tell us that are not in the writing.
So, like, I received multiple parking tickets. Like, there were 2 parking tickets in one day for, like, audio and parking, but I was parking on the correct side of the road. And then I received one about obstructing traffic, but I wasn't parking near the obstructing traffic sign. And I parked there, like, multiple times. And then I sent everything, like, my documentation to appeal, but I was denied because I was told by, like, the parking bureau ladies that I never sent the emails, but then, like, months later, I come back and remember. And Alex that works and she was like, your email was in the system the whole time, so I don't know why they didn't catch it. So because they said that they didn't have my email, I couldn't appeal, and then I was denied. So then I had like late fees added on top of like $240 in parking tickets when all of my proof is there.
Can I see the file again, please? Are you under the impression that your tickets were not addressed or not rendered a decision on?
Yes, because there were like 4 tickets that I didn't receive an appeal for. It was denied because they said that I had never sent proof of like where I was parked at to see if it could get appealed. But I have timestamps for
Okay.
emails that I sent.
But there are 4 tickets here, and there's a decision that was made on each of them. So a hearing examiner did look at them and rendered a decision on them.
Right, but they told me to provide proof, and I did provide the proof, but the reason why it was denied, it was like in the email it said that I never sent in proof that I did.
Okay.
Because I sent everything in my email, and I have the timestamps. And so when I talked to the bureau ladies, they said that they never received the emails. Because I haven't
What would your proof have consisted of?
showing where I was parked at, that I wasn't accepting traffic, and I was parked on the correct side of the road, because I received like 2 tickets in one day for uneven parking, 1 for obstructing traffic, and I never received physical tickets because I'm from out of state. I have a master's student at SU, and I never received like a physical ticket on my car, so I didn't even know I had a ticket until like I called back home, and then my mom was like, "Oh, you have 3 or 4 parking tickets," and that was like a month after the deadline to pay. So then I had accrued that late deadline because I never knew I had to pay it and like 2 physical tickets on my car.
Okay. And you're aware there is not a sign that says obstructing traffic? I mean, that there's not a sign that says do not obstruct traffic?
Right, but there was a ticket, like they were one for uneven parking and then a second for
Right.
obstructing traffic.
Right, right. And
But the day that I was parked, I remember it on that day, and I was parked in the correct side of the road. Because I'll park there multiple times and never receive a ticket until then.
Okay. Anybody have anything?
Very good. All right, like with the gentleman before you, we will make our decision. We will send it out to you in the mail. Do we have your correct address?
Yes, it should be.
Henry Street?
150 Henry Street, yes.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Will Hoy? Yeah, thank you.
What
do you have to add to your appeal?
So, I was ticketed for odd even parking on the exception days. And, so what I understand from the parking on the streets since 2016, I'm a commuter, is that during the odd days, you park on one side of the street and even, and I understand why it's declaring. However, the exception isn't written clearly as to what the exception rule is. It just says that the exception is an odd day followed by an odd day. So for me, as a parker, understand that on an odd day, you park on one side of the street, and because it's an odd day, you continue to park on that side of the street.
2 odd days in a row.
Right. But that's not what happens. You should park on the odd side and then move to the even, and you remain on the even. You park on the odd addressing, but it's an even street sign day. And you remain on that even day until the odd day, and then you would stay on that.
Not in Syracuse.
So what I did on the first was park on the street sign that said to park on that during that odd time. So when I arrived at 8 in the morning, I'm parking until an odd 6 o'clock that night. But I was ticketed because it's an exception and you park on the even side that day, on the even,
When they're,
odd address side on the even sign.
you would have been ticketed if there were 2 odd days in a row for parking on the even side of the street.
Right, which is, but right, the even addresses on the homes. But the sign, how do I, so on the sign, it says to park from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock
Yes.
on, either on an even or odd, so until 6 o'clock on that odd day. That's where I parked, because I arrived at 7:40 whatever in the morning, and I left before 5 o'clock on that, before 6 o'clock on an odd day, signed day.
You were parked on the even side of the street.
Right.
Let me try to explain it, and it's confusing because it defies our logic, and there really, I know where you're getting the exception from, but there really isn't an exception. If you look at the sign and it will say 6 p.m. even to 6 p.m. odd,
Correct.
that is the even side of the street.
Correct.
So on an even day at 6
On
p.m.,
the calendar even day.
on the calendar even day,
Yep.
at 6 p.m., you're going to be parked on the even side of the street. You will continue to park on that even side of the street until 6 p.m. the next day.
Correct.
So although the next day is an odd day, if it's before 6 p.m., or there's some streets that are 8 p.m.,
Yeah.
you will continue to park until that 6 p.m., which then at 6 p.m. you're going to be switching.
Correct.
It doesn't change simply from 31st to 1st. At 6 p.m., it's an odd day, so you would continue to park on the odd side of the day. It's not an exception.
Right. So, but that's what I was ticketed for.
You were ticketed for parking on the even side of the street. You parked on 6 p.m. even to 6 p.m. odd. So on the 31st at 6 p.m., you'd be parking on the odd side of the street. And you would then park on that side of the street to 6 p.m. on the 1st. It's another odd day, so you would just stay where you are on the odd side of the street.
Yeah. So I believe that you have some of my information, or like how the car was parked with the street sign. So on that day, I was parked on the correct signage like you're explaining.
May I see that, please?
And the way it was explained in this, it says, on the 31st, an odd day, when commencing at 6 p.m., all vehicles will be required to park on the odd side of the street determined by the house signs, so a 6 p.m. odd to a 6 p.m. even. Then vehicles would then continue to park on the odd side on November 1st.
Right.
And then when commencing at 6 p.m., then they continue to park on that.
Right.
So they would go day after day after day on,
2 days in a row.
You see that this says 6 p.m. even? That's the even side of the street. So on the 30th, you would have been on that side until the next day at the 31st. You would then switch to 6 p.m. odd to 6 p.m. even. And that would be the odd side of the street. So you are now on the even side of the street, which would have been the incorrect side on the 1st.
so I guess I'm just,
It's a
no,
little
I guess let me
confusing.
work through this. So when I show up at 7 in the morning, because I've been doing this, and literally this is the first ticket I've gotten
Okay.
in nearly 10 years.
So you're there at 7 in the morning.
What day is it?
And it's now, well, today is the 20.
Today's the 21st.
21st. So on the 21st, so on this day, which side of the street would I park on?
Yeah.
It's not 6 p.m. yet, so you're on the day before. So you would be on the 20th.
Yeah.
So you'd be on the even side of the street
So this sign.
with that sign until 6 p.m. that night.
Right.
At 6 p.m. that night, you're going to be switching over to the odd side because that's when we're looking at the odd starting at midnight, correct? But for parking, it starts at 6 p.m.
Right.
So on the 31st, you don't move.
Right.
You
So
stay
on the
there
31st. Right. So on the 31st, you would not move, and then it would be even.
No, because you would already be on the other side of the street. It says 6 p.m. odd to 6 p.m. even. So then you would stay there. If it's a 31st to a 1st, you would stay there. Because the 6 p.m. the previous day was an odd day, twice an hour.
Yeah.
No, it just, it really, it does not make sense that you would stay on the side of the street that says odd to even from midnight till 6 p.m. even on an odd day.
No.
Yeah, because so what it's saying is I am supposed to park at 6 p.m. on an odd day. I'm supposed to move to the other side. So on this side of the street, it says 6 p.m. odd to 6 p.m. even. And so it changes to midnight, and then I continue to park on that street all day.
It doesn't change at midnight. For
No, but
parking,
what I'm saying is at midnight it changes
Right.
not to an
So
even day, it stays
right.
on.
So just let me put this out for you, okay?
Yeah.
If it's before 6 p.m., it's the day before.
Right.
It hasn't changed.
Right.
So if you think of it, if it's before, it's the 21st today, but it's before 6. So it's really the 20th for
Right.
parking purposes. So if it's saying even to odd, then on the even day at 6 p.m., you're parking even. And you're staying there until 6 p.m. on the odd day. So that if it's 2 back-to-back days, on the 31st, you're moving to odd. The next day's the 1st, it's an odd day.
Yeah.
So you're still there.
I understand from your explanation, I guess the reason that I'm here is that there's nothing in these rules that say that I am supposed to park on the day before's sign. There's no asterisk on the sign, there's nothing written here, it just says an exception is that there are some days where an odd is followed by an odd. So there's nothing that tells me I am to follow, in my mind, again, logically, I'm arriving on an odd day at 7 in the morning, the sign I'm supposed to park on says I park until 6 o'clock odd. That's where I park.
But it
I
also,
shouldn't park on something that says 7 o'clock.
but it also says 6 p.m. even to 6 p.m. odd. When did the even start? When did it start?
Well, that would have started 2 days before.
Correct. So in between, you've got an odd day, so it would be odd to odd.
Right. But the exception could be that you.
Never mind the exception, it
I mean,
really
I'm
isn't an
getting ticketed for the
exception.
So I guess what I'm saying is the exception, there is an exception, but the exception isn't stated. So I understand that the exception could mean that you stay there based on the beginning of the sign, but it also could be that you have to stay on the odd side for 2 days in a row. Or the exception could be you have to get out and move your car at midnight.
No, the exception is, fine, but even if we're looking at the exception, and I have a problem with that terminology, but anyway, if you're looking at the exception, then really the exception is just if there's 2 odd days in a row, so you're staying on the same side. That's all the exception is saying.
Your argument is
Yeah.
that
Is that I'm
As
trying to
the
follow
signage-
rules that are not stated.
and they're not stated on the sign, and by your reading of the actual rule, it's not clear as to.
Right, it's
what-
confusing. We all recognize
I
that
would have thought that the
it's
exception would be you park on the odd side 2 days in a row where you're mostly in odd parking, not that you're parking on
We-
an even section.
We recognize that it's confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and as a commuter, it doesn't make sense to me to come in and not moving my car, following the street signs for the day of that it is.
Which street
Ah.
is this?
And then
should
it's
say
up on, let me see, Walnut.
Right.
And
Walnut.
and literally there was nobody on the side and all of us got ticketed. It's very vague. I think that if nothing else, this should all be updated. We've got periods for,
We agree with
you
you.
know, coming in, visiting students, and I'm sure all of them are, parking.
The easiest way for me to explain it to anybody is if it's before 6 or before 8, depending on the triggering time, just ask yourself what the day before was.
Yeah.
Because you're on the day before time,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, I mean, now after it was, even the first ruling that I have, it didn't explain anything, and then it finally came in saying that you park on that one particular side for 3 days in a row. And, I mean, this is the first time I've even seen anything. There's nothing on the website, there's nothing in the rules.
Yeah, I know I try to explain it, and I
Yeah.
would be a bit surprised if it was
No,
my
but I mean,
decision.
You can't
Anyway,
be everywhere explaining to everybody.
I know.
But I appreciate the time today. and
You're quite welcome, and, we do recognize that it is confusing.
Yeah.
I do take exception to the way it's presented.
Yeah. And it's only
Leah
7
knows
days
that I've
a
been
year,
complaining
you know?
about it for a long time,
Yeah.
but I do recognize it's confusing.
But
I mean, the other
examiner has another question.
Good morning, thank you for
morning.
coming in. I have a couple of questions. So you got this ticket at 9:30 in the morning on the 1st,
Yeah.
November 1st, and the sign said parking until 6 p.m. odd day. It said odd day, it didn't say odd street number,
No.
odd day before. It said until 6 p.m. on the odd day. And you were following the sign as you saw it.
As a commuter, not parking overnight and not.
Yeah. Okay. When I first walked in, I'm sorry, I was a little late. You're talking about an exception. Where did you see that
The
exception?
exception is the first because
Like, where did you see that?
when I tried to find out why I got a ticket.
Uh,
Because I couldn't understand why I got a ticket parking according to the street sign that I've always parked here.
did
So
you?
it's
It
his website.
sounds like you saw something that was called the exception or something.
Yeah, on the website, there's
okay.
parking rules, and it says there are some
I-
exceptions.
Okay, okay,
Till
okay.
Fool's Day.
Okay, but it's not on the
Not on the
street
sign.
sign.
No, there's nothing on the sign, there's no
Okay.
asterisk that says with the exception of, or look for, or, there's not, yeah. There's
Okay.
nothing on the sign, there's nothing, yeah. Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. John?
We will send you our decision, and thank you very much for coming in.
Appreciate your time,
Thank you.
Mr. Camp?
Yeah, and I just want to point out, so this one wasn't in your initial pile. Have reviewed this appeal in the prior 2 panels, but both times we sent the notice to the wrong address because there was confusion. His original appeal was lost in the flood, and then COVID, he redid it, and administratively, we sent it to the wrong address, so we rescheduled it again today, so that he could be present to present his appeal in person. Okay?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You may proceed.
Nice, man, serious, I don't know what he's... Thank you.
We were prepared 2 hearings ago.
3 years ago.
So this was a handicap parking ticket, so is that
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
You can go ahead, sir.
Okay, hey, my name is Michael Collins. I got a couple tickets back in, let's see, 11/19/19. The day before, I was stopped by the Syracuse City Police, and he said, you know that, you know, my ticket was on the rear view mirror, and I need to take it off. So that night, I had taken it off. I went to go pay a couple bills, and I stopped off at the Spectrum. And as I come in, I pulled in, okay? My front is facing the actual building, so I'm thinking that the police, the sheriff department, when they came in, I can't remember if I had my sticker on my dashboard or on my actual, like, you know, seat, but the bottom line was, it probably wasn't in view, but I did have it, you know, inside the vehicle. I ended up leaving. I got a ticket, I didn't realize it. I go to Walmart, I'm sorry, the same within an hour or 2 or whatever, I get another ticket. I noticed that because it was like it was dangling, you know, it was up higher like, you know, this time on my wipers. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is address them. Got a hold of City Hall for the parking violation. Said, come on in, like, you know, if you got a handicap sticker that's valid, you know, finally just take it, like, you know, and dismiss the ticket. I said, okay. Call up Syracuse. They said the same thing. I got a date with them, came in there, gave them my actual valid sticker that's been valid since 2015. I've never gotten a ticket, you know, with my handicap sticker. I always park inside of, you know, the correct zone and whatever, but like I said, that day, it wasn't on the rear view mirror. It was probably on the dashboard. I had a couple papers on it, but if he would have got up, he probably would have seen it, okay? But the thing was, he probably wrote the ticket, all right, put it on my thing. But I ended up showing East Syracuse my valid sticker, and they dismissed it. So no prejudice, they got rid of it, okay? I come here to City Hall. I pled not guilty to the ticket. They sent me a fine, you know, saying we're gonna, like, you know, go and cut it in half. If I have a valid sticker, okay, I understand what the rules are and the laws. It's gotta be, you know, up on their rear view mirror. Now I leave it on there at all times. And I end up coming in, and the girl that was working downstairs in the office, she explained to me, well, you know what, if you make an appeal, usually they'll throw it out if you make the actual date, you know. I said, okay. So I paid the $65. It was postmarked, certified postmarked on 12/17/19 before that date, for $65. And I'm hoping and praying that, you know, like, you know, just dismiss my ticket.
Let's go back to the original ticket. Where was your handicap?
It was either on my dashboard, you know, or it might have been on my seat, okay, you know, but at the top, like, you got up, like, you looking probably for it on the rearview mirror, okay? All right, I'm old, okay, I'm getting older, you know what I'm saying? You know, I took it off the night before, I parked in, like, you know, and I might have forgotten, okay? I still feel that that's not enough reason if you give me a ticket, right, okay, now if I did not have a handicap sticker, you know, then fine, okay. But, I got like, you know, an operation on my knee, on my hip, and you know, I need it. It's very valuable to me. I'm sorry I didn't put it up there, you know, where it should have been, but like I said, the day before, so I took it. It was probably on my dashboard, okay? With that being said, same ticket for East Syracuse, lady said to me, you know what, if you have a valid sticker, just show it to us, and we'll just expunge it. So that's what I did. Now over here, I paid a $65 appeal application. You guys took the money, and you know, COVID hit. All the court dates were all closed. You know, courts are closed. I'm like, okay. A year goes by. I come down. Whatever happened to my appeal? No one knows nothing about my, you know, money that I get. Well, that's okay. Here's my receipt. Okay. Well, that's okay. Well, you know what? We have to have a flood down the basement. Stuff happens. Okay. Natural cause. Okay. All of our paperwork got lost. Okay. That's cool. Okay. But what happened to my appeal? Okay. So I go from that one where I paid the actual $65 application fee to back to the front office that's facing Market. And the lady, I spoke with the supervisor, I forgot her name.
It's me. Leah. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm speaking like with Leah personally. That's right. And like she goes, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me get your correct address. I sit down, puts in the computer. Okay. What happens? You guys mail me a court date.
And you're here now.
Okay. No. You mail me a court date to my wrong address. Okay. How did that flaw come through? I have no idea. Okay, because you mailed the fine to me. Okay. To the right address. All right, so you know what? I'm an emotional guy, you know, when I feel, you know, I'm right, okay? That's what I feel. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I'm sorry. I called them back. They get my address again, okay? All right? They put it back in the computer. That's what they tell me. I got a trip to go to Phoenix, Arizona, December 2nd I left on a Friday, I believe it was. And you guys happened to tell me when I called that you mailed me my court date for sometime, I got the actual date, for sometime during the week I got to be up in Phoenix. But you got it to the wrong address again, okay? Well, that's in my favor, okay? Because once again, you got it to the wrong address. So I called you guys up. I spoke with, you were sick at the time, I believe. And I spoke with somebody, and they said, well, Michael, you know what? We got your address. It's at 833, and this and that. I just said it is, okay? Now, with that being said and done, I got a court date to come here, okay? 3 years later, okay? I mean, you know, so, I mean, I'm hoping, I'm praying, you know what? It ain't about the money. I feel it's the principle, okay? I mean, yes, it wasn't in view for him, like, you know, to obviously come behind, oh, handicap sticker. Let me, he's in the wrong spot for conveniency. Let me write him a ticket, okay? He might have wrote the ticket, for all I know, and saw it, you know, the handicap sticker. Well, you know what? I'm gonna tag him anyway. Within an hour, I'm thinking if I look at this time, I got this ticket at, I can't even see the time now. That's the fourth day, but to my recollection, it was the same day. Okay, these are two both the same day, and he tagged me again. Okay, so maybe he didn't see the actual sticker, but the bottom line was that I got tagged twice. I tried to address it as quickly as I could, tried to get it dismissed. I paid an appeal, you know, application to state my case, and I'm hoping that you guys, you know, like during the time, you know, and I'm staying on it. Okay, it wasn't in view. It wasn't in view, but I was ordered by a police officer the day before. I'm a good citizen here, and I've worked a construction life, wore my knees down. I worked in nuclear plants. I've done, like, you know, FBI, you know, background, okay? Now I got bad knees, okay? I'm doing what I gotta do, like, to, maintain my, mobility. I get a ticket. And you guys are like, you don't wanna come here break. I haven't gotten no other tickets other than at least 2 tickets, okay? Now if a cop stops me, I'm gonna take it off and put it back on, okay? I'll keep driving, okay? I mean, it doesn't obstruct my view. So, I mean, I think that's my case.
So you were acting on the advice of a police officer?
Absolutely.
Police officer.
Absolutely, okay?
And now you, I think I heard you say now keep it on your...
Sometimes, okay, but you know what? I keep it like, where it's going to be hanging on my, radio, so, it's going to be in sight, okay? Like, but a good, like, 6 to 10 times, I'll have it off and on, okay? But I do know now that if I'm parking to a handicap zone, I gotta have it exposed, okay? And it will be on my, I mean, my registration is clear. I mean, it's not the $65, okay? It's the principle, okay? I mean, I paid my taxes here, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I worked hard, okay? I was able to get a handicap sticker. I never parked. I would never park into a handicap sticker when I had 2 healthy legs, okay? Now, I'm 63, I played a lot of basketball. I can't even shoot a ball now, you know what I'm saying? So, just watching basketball gives me a adrenaline rush, but I'm not that man I used to be, so it is what it is. I'm just hoping and praying that you take the ticket and say, he's been on it. He's been 3 years, not letting go. He paid the $65. Okay, you guys achieved my point. Due to the fact, the same day, East Syracuse issued me a ticket. I went to that court. One secretary, you have a valid sticker? Yes, I do. Dismissed. Bye. Have a good day. I mean, why you guys, hounding me for $65?
The different jurisdictions, sir, and Syracuse does not dismiss handicap. If you don't display it and it's not valid, it will not be dismissed. We did reduce it.
I didn't know that, though.
We reduced it for you. We gave you credit for having a valid sticker, but it was not displayed.
Yeah, but still, man, is Officer Honorable, what's your name?
I'm John Black.
John Black. Okay, there used to be a John Black one time, right?
Yes, there was.
Okay, so, I mean, I took it off on the orders of the police officer, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The next day, I got to pay the cable bill. I do it, and you know what? It cost me $130, and then you guys cut it in half. I mean, hey, you do what you have to do, okay? But you know what? I've had my, explanation of why it was not, in face value, and that's all I can tell you. Okay, if you need the money that bad, hey, do what you gotta do with it. But I feel that you guys should say, you know what? You got a clean registration, he's a good citizen, let's dismiss it, okay? I would, if I was on that side, and you was on this side, I'd say, yeah, hey, you know what? All right, don't do it again. Slap my hand like, tell me, have a good day, So, but hey.
We will send you our decision in the mail.
I'm sure you will.
I will.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
To your address.
You might even get it to
We'll send it to your
So,
address.
That's the perfect.
let me just confirm that one more time. It's the 833 East Brighton Avenue, apartment 1006.
Wow.
Good?
That's good English, man.
Good. All right.
Appreciate it.
I want you to get it.
I need to get it. Okay, so I can sleep in it. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, Mr. Black.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Black?
So it was already reduced?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was 130. We knocked it down to 65.
Okay, that's what we agreed to do last time.
Yeah.
By half, right?
Sir, you may proceed with whatever you have to supplement your. This is Nathan Barrett.
Okay.
Good morning, thanks for
meeting today. I think this is very similar to the Lee's case 10 minutes ago, so I think this could be probably pretty short. Honestly, I think I have the same story, but 1 hour later on the first and a different street, so I can just skip everything else. I do have a useful, I guess, document, but this is the website with the those days exception. So, to be honest, I don't really expect to be reimbursed, but I do think that maybe this would be productive if we just change the website, maybe. Because I think it is a bit vague, and I think that it's easy for both the parking authority and the defendants like me to argue with their own case, but there's just no, I guess at the end of the day, it just all seems very subjective to me. And I think that the previous examiner who reviewed my case made a very good argument, but their argument was just an interpretation of this unexplained exception. And so in my mind, I also have a decent argument in that I was interpreting an exception that wasn't laid out. But at the end of the day, I think we both have equal weight to our argument. So I guess I would just ask, is there any way to clarify this exception so you guys don't keep getting the same case every couple months?
We'll
We're
task
trying.
Leah with coming up with
We're trying.
You have no
Well-
idea how many of these things we see.
Yeah.
I would suggest we could either clarify the website or we could follow the signs that are posted.
Yeah.
yeah.
You looked at the sign an hour after the prior person on the first, following the 31st,
Yeah, different street.
in the morning sometime.
Yeah. For a time we
On an odd day.
can
And the sign said parking on an odd day until 6.
It says even to odd.
even to
6
odd.
p.m. even to 6 p.m. odd. So you're looking at 6 p.m. on an even day and continuing to 6 p.m. on an odd day.
It's definitely, it was confusing at first, and I had a couple tickets when I first moved here that I deserved, but also it's just kind of, it's something that I can't defend, but it's frustrating.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
And then it gets more confusing because there are some streets that are only even and odd during the day. So it's you know.
Yeah. So it sounds that way. Yeah, I really don't have much more to add. I would definitely ask and hope that you would
We'll take it into
see my
consideration.
perspective here, but yeah, I understand that you deal with this a lot. But I do think that it would be really productive if this exception could be, I guess, changed at least to just include more direct language so that when I'm looking at the website to see what to do, I don't assume that it's the exception means I can just pick whatever side I want, that the exception means that I must literally do odd to.
Well, the thing of it is, it really isn't an exception because it works the same way.
Yeah.
So if it's 6 p.m. odd, at 6 p.m. on an odd day, you're going to park on the odd side of the street, period. And the next day, if it's 6 p.m. odd, you're still staying on that street. So it really isn't changing the way it works. So when they put exception down there, they kind of meant it's because it's 2 odd days in a row, but it doesn't change where your car should be located. And I think that causes some confusion.
Do you think I could argue then that their use of language like exception gives me some leeway?
I think that's what you are arguing.
Yeah, I agree.
We're
Yeah.
lawyers, you can argue whatever you want. It's for-
Okay, well, that's my argument. I think that I'm in the right because I perceive that the exception meant that the rule would cease to take effect on these quote-unquote food estates.
Okay.
You can appeal this, right?
Yeah, Article 78.
You can do an Article 70, you can appeal
I'm not
this.
sure. This is my second appeal, I know that, so I
Yeah.
might be, okay. So, yeah, I'm having fun engaging with the judicial system, you know, so. I don't know if I'll keep doing it, but yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
We'll get you our decision, and thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
think the other ones that said they were coming is coming. I want to, for those of you who had not met, these are our staff. We've got Charlasia Williams and Brianna Hart. We got Mary, John, Kristen. She went full-time at Volunteer Lawyer Project, but she's going to be working remotely on some ex parte. Chris, and then Karen, this is her final farewell. But they're newish parking staff, so just so you all met, so they were just observing. You guys have any questions?
John?
Yeah, so now they'll go through, and, you know, it's majority for all the decisions on the appeal, and then they'll review all of the ones that people, they don't have to show up, just like our ex parte hearing. So most of the rest of the people either didn't check whether they wanted to show up in person or check that they didn't want to show. So we'll go through the rest of them, but I just wanted people to see how the panel works. All right. Cool. You guys can come back now. Thanks for coming up. All right. So why don't we just finalize the decisions on the people that appeared in person first? And I guess, you know, I have them technically scheduled till 10, so someone else could still show up. But you had Dwayne Crawford first.
Which one was he, John?
He was the first gentleman.
Yeah, but I don't remember what the ticket was.
It was a handicap tag and,
He didn't display it.
no.
Yeah. I would,
I hate to even find anybody that actually has a valid handicap tag, even if they didn't have it hanging. I know that's not our policy, but I just don't like doing it because they've got it, they forgot to put up, and the cops do tell you not to hang stuff from your mirror, and they'll stop you.
I hang my parking pass.
I know, and they don't like you to do it.
Forget it.
Exactly.
That if I get pulled over, they could yell at me for it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think it's VNT 1111 that they cite you for if you get that.
Do they pull you over just for that?
Yes.
Yeah, because then they want to see what else.
Because, yes,
supposed to be hanging there, they say to obstruct your vision.
same thing, like you can't have like.
but it's just an excuse usually to get you for something else. We called it when I was at the police department the bullshit VNT statute.
The first one, I would sustain our decision. The second one, why isn't the obstructing being dismissed?
It should be.
Yeah.
You know, she,
Was that even out and?
Well, let's
Wait, let's finish Dwayne first. Is everybody sustaining? You
It was my decision. so-
Yeah,
can't.
Yeah.
Karen, are you sustaining?
yeah, I'll sustain. I don't like it, but I'll sustain.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay, so we're good.
and you already reduced it.
Yes, we have reduced it. Yeah, we try to take care of it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Now, the second one,
Weren't there sheets about with notes and all? Where did they go? Did someone pull them all out?
Nope.
Did you guys not write like reviewing it?
we did.
We did, it's right there.
Oh,
Use that one too to find it.
okay. Got it. Okay, then which one?
Next one is,
That was that girl who said she sent things in.
this is the odd even, she had the 4 tickets.
Yeah.
She had 2
The
odd
obstructing,
even.
I think, should be
Yeah,
dismissed. I
obstructing.
mean, the other ones, I don't know, she said she sent things in. I mean,
Well, looking at the decision and looking at what she sent in, I think the decision really meant that nothing you said is really a defense. So it's not that she sent nothing in, that what she sent in
wasn't a sufficient.
I think it wasn't sufficient. And I think that's really what the decision
Everything would be in
said.
there that she sent, so.
Right.
Because it was like, I've done this, I've parked here a million times, and never have a
Yeah.
ticket, that kind of thing.
And then I made the other one.
But I don't know why that's.
So there, let's see.
Let me see that top page there, John. Yeah. Cover sheet, thank you.
Is it really our fault that she doesn't talk to the phone?
I get that all the time from the college too. I went to my family's address.
Yeah.
The number of parent calls that I've had.
Yeah. And I think that's right. I mean, your kid is in college and you're,
Nobody wants their kid to do anything.
Where's the other one? He's 12 inches from the curb.
I think her pictures,
That's our picture.
yeah, she definitely,
Oh, yeah. That's, yeah.
I mean, come on, Lee.
She doesn't want to get her tires slashed by the curb. I've had that happen when I parked too close.
yeah.
I have two.
Brand new tires.
I had one back to back.
Yeah.
I bought it. I had one, and then I had it for less than 24 hours, and I went to go into Dunkin' Donuts, hit the side of it.
Me too. Me too. That's why I don't like to get real close to it, because, and then if you get too close and somebody parks like this far away from your bumpers, you have no room to move. Which is what happened to me out here. I had to call my husband to come and move my car because the guy was too close and I couldn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, he did it, did it. I just was like, nope.
Considered violation, but when it is obstructing or somebody's double parking or something, they're blocking traffic.
Right by the, private sorority house.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm like the worst car lot.
So
What do you guys want to do?
Dismiss the
This is the lady
obstruction.
with the 4 tickets.
Yeah.
Dismiss the obstruction, but I think the other one, she didn't have any valid
once there was
defense.
insufficient proof.
We didn't dismiss the obstruction below. I mean, she's appealing it. And I guess it's a question of, do you feel that, let me get the photo again. This is probably what we would have based the obstruction on.
Yeah, but you can't
Oh, that's fine.
assume what it's for. If they don't tell you what it's for, then you
That's
can't
right.
assume it.
And what's it obstructing?
I don't think it's obstructing traffic.
No, I don't either.
I mean, it's more than 12 inches from a curb, so if that's one of her tickets, I'm sustaining that.
Yeah.
But I think this is a one-way street based on the fact that.
And I think the other,
Yeah, yeah. But we can't assume what the obstructing is.
Throw a bone by dismissing it.
They always give out that obstructing. Wrong.
Throw 'em a bone. Besides, that's an expensive ticket. The obstructing one, it's more expensive.
Yeah, it's
than the other stuff.
$75.
so this is an old obstruction.
I think this was the only one
So
on
that's probably one of the
This ticket.
obstruction was issued.
this one. The one with the picture. Bigger
That's a
than
12 inches.
from the curb.
on appeal, yeah.
12 inches.
But I don't know, is it 12, I don't know what the, yeah,
So there
12
are
inches
two-
from curb was
There
the
were two
ticket.
appeals, though.
Oh, okay.
She's definitely 12
So the
inches from the
12 inches
curb.
from the curb sustained?
Yes.
Sustain.
And
Well,
then-
when you sustain it, well, there's no way you can say that the picture shows it. You have to just sustain the...
This is the one that had the odd even, the obstruction, and the, whatever the third one.
She didn't appeal them?
No, she
These
did.
are also appealed, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Two
would
appeals
dismiss
before it didn't.
the obstruction and sustain the rest based on the prior information.
Yes.
So dismiss,
So dump the obstruction,
one is the obstruction.
it's in the 3.
It's in one. Yeah.
Oh. Let's see.
The one that ends in 656. So 656.
Okay. Good.
Oh, yeah, you write fast. Yeah.
You know, since typing most of the time, I can barely write anymore. It feels like,
Oh, my
I write
signature
a
looks
sentence and my
terrible.
hand is hurting.
My signature's awful.
Awful. Just
I mean, I used to have kind of...
I had good handwriting, and I took all my notes
But
and
you know the
everything.
worst part? I can't even read it myself.
Oh, yeah. If I went to court and they said, "Is this your signature?" I'd go,
I don't know.
Because it never looks the
Looks like
same.
lines.
Never looks the same,
It
anyway.
never looks the same, but
No.
I made a grocery list. I couldn't read my own writing. What is that?
These kids today can't even write,
No,
so.
they can't add either.
They don't do
It's
cursive.
really sad.
Oh,
They
it's
cannot
awful.
add. If that machine goes down,
They don't know how to do
they
it.
don't know how to do it.
I made my daughter, when she was from a very young age, pay for something herself and know that how much change she would have to get
Right,
back.
it's scary. It really is. I don't know how many times I've said to them, I get so much change back because they can't.
They don't do it. And if it was $4.41 and you give them $5.41, they don't know what to do with the
They don't
dollar.
know what to do with that.
People do, but, we can definitely have a discussion about it. We might as well have the discussion about the odd even now, in the context of, these.
Give and take.
Yeah. Because I think from talking to all of you, the four of you, your interpretation of the law is the way that Chris presented it to both of the appellants today, and Mary, your interpretation is what they were presenting.
They're presenting it only basically because of the
way it's
that
on the
exception.
website, which I copied that and pasted that from the old website. So I took this at one point. My staff put it like all over the office because people kept coming in so much.
But I don't see where the exception changed anything.
It doesn't change anything.
No, all it just says is there's an exception on the
Which means you're not
April
switching,
Fool's
yeah, which means
Day.
you're not switching every day,
You know, but
yeah.
it doesn't say in what manner it accepts.
Right, it isn't clear as to what the exception is.
No, I think exception is the wrong word.
It is.
And I think that they didn't understand, and like I've shared with most of you, I can see it both ways. I can see why somebody gets confused pulling up because you're kind of, at that point, you're looking at the point in time that you're at right now.
Yeah.
So if you're parking at 10 a.m., you're on the first, you're ignoring the top part of the sign that says 6 p.m. even.
But you just hit the key word.
I know that I ignore it. I'm saying I agree with the four of you that legally, the legal interpretation of the law is correct. The way you decipher it. But I also don't think that it's coherent for people to understand if I'm coming in at 10 a.m. on one of those days. Any other day, you would just think at 10 a.m. today, all right, this goes to 6 p.m. I'm good.
Yeah.
I think asking people to process when was 6 p.m. even for people that aren't, adjudicating these cases every week, I think.
I don't see it that way at all.
I know.
I really don't. I mean, even is even.
Yeah.
So even was on the 30th, we got a 31 in there.
We should have a lawyer.
Is that what that is?
Yes, that is.
Well, you
But
just
you
have
do it
yeah.
by the time when you pull up and you
Yeah.
look up at the sign.
Yeah.
But
What's
I
the
think
date?
also,
What's the date today?
what's the date?
I don't even know usually what date it is anymore.
Look at the date, you're
That's
looking
why I
at
bought a
it.
watch with a thing
Me
on
too,
it.
me too.
Yeah.
And bigger things to read.
But I also think that looking at the underlying ordinance, that I don't necessarily think that is very clear either.
But the law isn't very clear. If you ever read the law, come on.
No, but
So
it's
that's why
something
we
that
have
we're feeling.
signs.
Yeah.
That's why we have
But the
signs.
sign, but I also don't agree with you that you're looking at the sign because it does, I agree with Chris, like if you're strictly looking at the sign, it does say 6 p.m.
I can tell you, before working here, I didn't understand what the goddamn sign meant at all.
So like, I can see it right from all ways. I think, yeah, the
Well,
law.
no, if I pull up there and it's no longer an even day, what does it matter if it's 6 p.m. even? Right now,
I think it's very
That's the
confusing.
starting point.
It's very.
And that's the way,
How are you? Good.
that's what I think.
I'm not
if you look at the
gonna
ordinance-
park there 12 hours. That's the thing. I'm not parking there 12 hours, so it's not gonna get there at 5:45.
All right.
You know, everything he's been through, I think if it was on a dashboard, it could have been something.
What he said, he thinks it was either on.
I dismiss it. I dismiss it. He's gone through all of
Yeah,
this.
that's
Dismiss
my
it.
feeling.
Just dismiss it.
All right, you got Mr. Barr,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, we've read your appeal, and we would like you to tell us what you'd like to say to supplement what you've already written.
I work in One Lincoln Center.
No, please, go ahead.
And on one snowy morning, I found a ticket on my car.
Come in and sit
I thought
down.
it was parking, but the meter was still full, so it couldn't be parking. And lo and behold, the registration sticker was expired. And I came over and spoke to these folks, and they said, "Get us, you got it registered?" I said, "Yeah, it's registered. Get us a copy of it, bring it over, and we'll take care of it." Well, I couldn't find the registration, but I knew I'd take it. And so I went and got a new one. Brought that one and turned it in. He said, "Fine, we'll take a look at it." And the gentleman who originally I spoke to left the city. So 2 weeks later, I'm cleaning my car. And sure enough, underneath the seat is the original registration. So I brought that up, and hopefully we have it now. Folks, I know more should be here than anybody, because the first, if you grant my appeal, the first person I see who's indigent is going to get my $40. Because as an attorney, I have a lot of other things. You have a lot of other things to do, but this kind of the principle of it. It was registered. I knew it was registered. And it's my fault for not having it on the window. I guilty as charged and everything. That's all I have to say. Clean my car sooner.
Put that registration sticker on the minute you get it.
Exactly. I just got a notice on my other car. Pulled it out immediately, sent it in, and won't make this mistake.
Did you,
Well, they stick anytime. I don't even have a garage and it sticks when it's outside in the cold.
did you renew your registration online?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I say,
And when you print that, it says right at the bottom, it says you're subject to being cited if you don't put this on your windshield.
I never saw that, but I'll take your word for it.
It does.
The other thing it says is, I believe, put it out when you get it.
Yeah.
Don't lose charge. Stick it under the seat.
No.
There's a lot of
On the
times,
dashboard, it fell off. That's what I.
yeah. It says tape it to the windshield, actually, on the New York State
Can't even
DMV.
get a
thing.
temporary.
Yep.
They're asking for a temporary, but I was well in advance, so I didn't need a temporary.
We did reduce it, didn't we, Chris?
If you did, I don't know that. I paid my $40, and that's the last I heard.
I'm a little confused.
Well, because he said he had registered it on time.
On the 21st. And then you lost that? Where'd this come from?
He had to get another one because he lost
But the other
his-
one came the
Yeah, but then he
17th.
found the original one on the seat.
Oh, okay. All right, I got it.
I can understand you being confused.
No, it was not reduced.
That's a messy windshield there, Day. Now, how's anybody supposed to figure out anything with all that junk you got in there?
Yeah, my office is on my desk.
Yeah. No, I get that. Mine's in the back of the seat, so that.
Not for me.
Okay. We'll make our deliberations, render a decision, and we'll mail you our decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
No one's going to try to sauce on
Did you really?
John has
Oh my gosh.
So,
What time are you scheduled for?
That's better than putting your leftovers in the trunk of your car.
Oh, my
Take them out and
God.
Go back 2 days later in
Oh,
summertime.
bad.
It smelled like somebody died in there.
Got Mr. Zimmerman here?
Sir, we have read your appeal, and we've all kind of have our thoughts on it, but we'd like to know what else you have to offer us to supplement what you've written.
I work at CPR on Market Street. I park in front of my store every day in the morning. I put my parking pass in front, and a bunch of our business owners, they gave me a parking ticket. Twice.
So you had a parking pass, or is it a,
Loading zone parking pass.
okay. And how long were you parked there?
Well, I parked there from open to close.
Can I see that?
But the loading zone
Well-
parking pass permits you to park for either 30 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever the loading zone is in that location.
That's the
Yeah.
one over our employees use for school.
Were there pictures generated with this? Because the ticket says that doesn't indicate that the permit was displayed. He attached it in here. We have it in here. But there's no marking that it was,
What kind of ticket was it?
it was the regular
Yeah.
tickets.
Okay.
There's no
And
photo.
it looks like they're,
Printed, but if there were any, but I could ask.
yeah, because,
You want to go through them, I'll print them.
did you display your
Yeah, I have it on my desk.
permit?
And then I also put our business cards in my windshield wipers.
Right. But you understand that the pass that you have limits you to 30 minutes, not all day.
Those are the ones that everyone on the street uses from Starbucks.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is, it's a loading zone. It's not your pass to park there while you're at work. It's for you to load your vehicle and unload your vehicle and then move on so someone else can use the loading zone. It's not your Marshall Street parking pass. I mean, there's a very strict limit on loading zones because it's presumed that multiple persons are going to use the loading zone for loading and unloading purposes. Your daily parking pass should be in a different location, not outside your store, as convenient as that may be.
All right. Thank you, sir.
We'll get our decision to you in probably a week.
Thank you.
That's wild, if that's the case. Everybody on Marshall Street's parking all day on their loading zone?
The city didn't have photos. No dash.
Does he say that it's displayed? Because if he says it's displayed, I dismiss it. What your point, John, I agree with you, but he wasn't ticketed for overtime.
No, you're right. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to,
We gotta go
this
with
is the educational moment here.
Yeah,
And if
why I
you
just
take
asked, I'm answering me.
It would have been in here. I looked.
Yeah, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I think when I went through this file, I looked in
Looks, yeah.
on a computer for the
Yeah.
attachments and there was...
Yeah, and
Yeah, they'd be in there. Sometimes they're,
City has no photo dash.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my note was the checkers should have photographed the dash to check for loading zone
Yeah.
permit, and apparently they did not.
So if he's saying it was displayed, then I think I'd be inclined to dismiss it.
All right,
City didn't-
raise your hand if you want to dismiss. 1, 2, I'll let everybody. All right, I'll take that.
Yeah, yeah.
City just didn't,
They didn't do their job.
yeah.
But now he knows he can't park there all day long, so that,
Unclear.
He's gonna keep.
He's totally
he's gonna keep doing it. Sure he is.
It's a ticket.
Yeah.
I think what we gotta do is you gotta have Sergeant Romaine have a little,
I can tell him.
you know,
Was
CLE.
it on
for
Marshall
his-
Street?
Yep, that's, yep.
And then ticket them for overtime.
Those guys,
And
you
those
know,
would be sustained.
wow. If they're taking up every loading
Yeah, it's
zone.
harder. I mean,
It's
so
ruining their
hard to park.
business to do that anyhow. You know, if you want to do business, you can't because the people are parked there.
All right.
And then the other one
Yeah, Mr.
should be reduced.
Farrar.
The guy with the registration.
I thought he looked familiar, but I hadn't seen him in such a long time.
Who is he?
Dave Ferrara?
I don't know.
Ferrara, Fiorenzo, they do a lot of education law.
That's not Ben Farrar.
No, isn't he with, oh, no, you're right, it's not the same one, but he was very,
That is a little hefty.
no, he was recognizable as based on, like, I should know this guy, that's why I looked to look. But what does this one do? Because I've had something with him.
Is he related?
What area does he practice? Because I've done something with
Wait,
him.
there were 2 tickets for him.
Right.
You want,
What was the other one?
They're both commercial.
they're the sit parked in a loading zone.
Yeah.
Both of them, so you want,
No photos for either one.
so 80. Make sure I got
I mean, we've got to do a better job of policing for us to sustain this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it should be overtime. Now, that mess, but he did have it on the 21st, so it should be
We
reduced.
did have it back
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Okay.
reduced, so what are you reducing it to?
What we do is it's a $15 reduction.
I think he's just a
Yeah.
plaintiff. Plaintiff.
So he'd be
Plaintiff's
reimbursed
work.
15.
Personal injury is what I think.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So registration is 15.
Yeah.
Handicap is half?
Handicap is 40.
It's a $40 reduction.
Oh, no, we changed that. The last time it was
Changed
just
it.
75. 75. We changed it to 75.
75?
I
I've
haven't
been
been
knocking down 50.
No, I wrote it down. We said 75. Reduce it to 75. Reduce it to
Oh, yeah, I
75.
agree.
So I
for that.
reduced $75 off.
That's what I wrote down, and that's what we
Oh,
agreed to.
It's $130.
$130 with the surcharge. The underlying fine is 100, the surcharge is 30.
So I was taking 40 off and it came out to 90, so I'm doing it wrong.
I was taking 50 off.
I was taking
God,
75.
we're all doing
75, that's
I'll
what
write all these up and print them for the wall, so what, I mean, you guys decide.
we agreed the last time it was 75, when Don was here, that we would reduce it 75 if they had the ticket. Both he and I don't like to even give the people any fine when they have a handicap.
Well, and the other thing that I guess is important for handicap too, for some of them, so after John and I have been digging out parts of the ordinance to find the updated, because it's not updated on Unicode. And right now in the system, Ames does not add a first penalty for handicap tickets at all. But once I update it, probably corresponding with the new fiscal year, the ordinance actually says the first penalty is a doubling of the underlying
Oh my God.
so for handicap
We're going to have
tickets,
handicapped
that
up
will
the
be-
yin yang coming in.
it's been that way forever, where I don't know why it's not in the system.
You pay almost $1,000 in California if you park in
Yeah, so
handicap.
it'll jump to 230 then with the first penalty, and then the second and third penalties for everything are 30 and 40. Why they're all random and different right now, I don't know.
What bothers me is a lot of people that come in, they're elderly, that have the handicap too. They already, we're all on a fixed income. I don't think anybody's gotten any raises lately,
What do we
but
wanna do
they're on a
about it?
really reduced income, and this really impacts them terribly. I mean, when the average person on Social Security gets $1,300 a month, I mean, that's just a killer to have to pay that.
So, but just hang on, with the registration, it was 40 and you reduce it 15.
Yeah.
So, so it would normally, you'd knock it down to 25.
$25.
Okay, what do you want to do so everyone's consistent with handicap, the reduction? We've got 60 or 75 or 50 proposed.
How about nothing at all if they actually did have it, just didn't have it hung up?
Still not, I mean, it's not a fix though, right? Like,
I
so
know.
My issue with that is that, I mean, most people, like, we're actually paying people to look and issue the tickets. A lot of the handicap are shaped, and I mean, I have a problem with the underlying shape tickets to
I have
begin
a
with.
problem.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm trying to focus on our tickets first and then figure
Deal with
out how to do.
Most that I get, though, are the ones with the SH in front of them. That's the ones I get. At Destiny,
But
somebody
they
sits
have
there.
tried now to fill in the blanks to make them coincide with 238.
Yeah.
That I've noticed. But as far as late fees, I would dismiss on that because that doesn't give you any notice of any kind of late fees coming in.
No, they would get the, you know, and again, it becomes an issue of when it's inputting in the system.
right.
So if it gets input in the system, you know, the first reminder is supposed to go out on day 8. So you would get it before your 20-day, you know, period to pay or the penalty goes on. But if it's not in the system by then,
Right. And
they're not
they
getting
don't give you notice on that at all.
because it's not on the ticket. But,
Well, if we're voting for a reduction, I say $75.
all right, Karen has proposed 75.
That's what we did before, so I changed it.
Going once.
Anybody else agreeable to reducing it?
So
That's
we're
okay.
reducing the fine to $75.
I'm willing to do it. I'd
Are you
like to be
reducing it
consistent.
by 75?
By, reducing it by
Fine would be
70.
$25.
Yes, because I feel that,
Fine, so
Yeah.
well, you're reducing the total with the 130. What are you reducing the 130 to? If somebody gets a handicap for 130,
I reduce it, take 75 off.
okay, someone do the
So
math
it'd
for
be
me.
$45?
65, yeah.
No.
No.
It'd be
65.
55?
that's cap.
All right, 55. All right, so they go to 55.
And if it's a shape ticket, we're saying that we are not going to adhere to the late charges because there's a failure of notice.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you know before I change the system. Right now, I've been directed to wait.
I have a tendency to get rid of the late fees a lot anyway.
Yeah, I know that you do that all.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they tell me they
There's your
did.
bone.
Well, yeah, that's true, that's the truth. Well, especially when they say I didn't get it, because half the people aren't really getting it on their windshield.
Zimmerman,
Yeah, unless it's really blatant, and when I look and they just really haven't done a darn thing, and there's all sorts of them, and I don't like their attitude.
what do you want to do with him?
With who?
Mr. Handicap sticker.
Handicap sticker from
2019.
2019.
I say dismiss it, because we
Dismiss it.
really put them through hell.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a shape ticket and it's facially insufficient.
Yeah,
Details, Crystal. Come on.
and the cop told them to take it off.
Yeah, well, see, if he didn't go through the things that he went through, I would have sustained it.
Exactly, but he's been through it. He's done
But
it.
there was an issue with me
Reimburse
when he
65?
said, well, I think it was on the dashboard. If he had actually said, yes, it was on the dashboard, but thinking it's on the dashboard, well, then you can say it's displayed. It should be visible.
The little holes are this
Like,
big for a
dismissed it
handicap.
myself because the amount of angry
They don't
calls
fit.
with him
No, they don't. And even the pass that we have, half the time that thing's sliding off. I have to
I have to put it on the dashboard because it doesn't.
Not the whole
My
time,
ears is
but
big and
at
the
least
hole's
since
that big.
2022 when we first scheduled them. And, it was just like, I often have interns help me prep the letters because I didn't have it built out in the system. Now it's built out in the system. Cecilia's doing it, but I had interns and I just never, I never double checked that they sent it to the right address. And it happened not once, but twice. So, I mean, that was on me. But he just really wanted his
So
day in
simple.
court.
Yeah.
It shows, right? It goes
Yeah.
to prove. Like,
This was the
it
highlight
really
of his week.
worked in his favor. All right, back to the odd evens just before we render the decisions on those. My issue from looking at it, not from a hearing examiner perspective, but from a policy perspective, is the signs are the signs, right? John and I have been talking just like, hey, work with DPW to update the signs. I need them to install the rest of the parking meters first.
Yeah.
Which we're up to like 225 out of 300, so we're pretty close. We're getting there. So, that's definitely a conversation, on my to-do list as well.
But what would the sign say that would make it, you'd have to make it this long for
I
somebody to
don't have a
understand.
problem with the sign, I have a problem with our website.
Oh, yes, website, I'm gonna go take that off today. And then, but we need something up there, right? And we need, I don't know how to hit, right?
Yeah.
2 out of the, 6 people who showed up today were appealing these cases. So it's, and on those double odd days, we get inundated with calls.
Yes.
Because people get ticketed. People, for better or worse, people don't understand it. So I guess I'm proposing, does anybody have any,
Downtown here where some of the signs have like double signs, like November to whatever, don't do this.
Yeah.
Maybe we need a second sign that says except from the 31st.
No, because it works the same. It works the same. It doesn't change.
No, it's still the same.
It's
But people don't
even to odd, and then the next day is odd, but if they
Yeah.
it's the same, it doesn't change, there's no exception. It runs,
No,
what was
I
the
get
date?
that there's no exception, that it's.
Then I don't think it needs to be explained, I think.
But it does. We have people sitting here.
It does because, the people are telling us, and that takes
What I'm
time and money too, right?
Right,
Like,
and what I'm saying is I don't think the sign necessarily needs to be saying. When they look on the website, it needs to be explained on the website so that they have something to look at.
Well,
When he was here or she was here or whoever it was said, once I got the decision, then I understood it because the canned decision goes and I fill in the dates. So I bring them back to either an even or odd date and bring them forward and show them that it changes here to here to here. And they seem to
They do,
understand that.
yeah.
Well, change the website, see what happens. If
And besides, they're not sitting there checking it out before they park.
That's right.
they're not.
If afterwards they're looking for anything, they get it.
Yeah.
That's right.
So when they find a better explanation
I mean-
on the website.
I mean, I think it's clear. If you park there between 6 PM even and 6 PM odd, you're fine. And it doesn't, I would never think that you had to park there counting from the 6 PM starting time. I would think at any time within those 12 hours, you can park there, i.e. at 10 in the
But
morning
there's
on
a
the
starting
first.
point.
The starting
I've
point.
just been doing
The
this.
starting time is what it says in the sign, 6
Yeah.
PM the even
Even
day.
Right.
Or the odd day.
Right.
And it's not like a continuous thing. If I pull up at 11 at night, or if I pull up at 2 in the afternoon, it's 2 in the afternoon of the day I'm parking there.
Yeah, but if it
It's the
says 6
third.
PM even to 6 PM on, where are you starting from? Where are you
When I
starting?
pull up into the parking space.
But that's not what the sign says. It says 6 PM even is when it
It
started.
doesn't say continuously through. It's
6
not
PM
like,
even to 6 PM odd to me is,
right, so
That's
you
the
can
time
park
period.
any time during that time.
No.
So if I
no.
pull up on the 1st at 10 in the morning, within that 12-hour period,
Yeah, so 6 PM even to 6 PM odd. When was the even day? It was on the 30th. To 6 PM odd would have been the 31st. So then on the 31st, it's going 6 PM odd to 6 PM even. The even hasn't started yet. So you're on the odd side of the street. I don't know how you make it any different.
I mean, what, this person got a ticket on the 1st at 9:30 in the morning?
Right.
And it said until 6 PM at night.
It said 6 PM odd.
Yeah.
So it was 6 PM even to 6 PM odd. But the
So
6
it's not-
PM odd occurred on the 31st.
Well, it also occurred on the 1st.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
but even if
doesn't
it
change the
occurred on the
logic.
1st, it occurred on the 1st at 6 PM that night, not at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you would start with the 6 PM odd. So it would have been the 31st.
And it's still, at 10 o'clock on the 1st, it is still 10 o'clock on the odd day.
It
People
says,
do not understand this counting from the day before.
well, it starts somewhere.
And I don't know how
If
to
it starts
explain
6
it.
PM even to 6 PM odd, then the starting point is a 6 PM even.
So you can look at it as one continuous thing with a beginning and end, or you can look at it as when I pull up into that parking space, what's the date, what time is it?
Then you would say, what is the date before, because it hasn't occurred yet. 6
See, I
PM
wouldn't
even
say
hasn't
that. I'd
occurred
say
yet.
if it's 10 o'clock in the morning on the
but
1st.
I guess like if we're thinking of it, right, the reason there's 6 or 8 PM is because we're not going by midnight to midnight.
Right, you're going,
Because
exactly.
people aren't gonna move their cars.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right, so if you're thinking, we're thinking of it that way, if it was midnight to midnight,
No one's going to get up and move their car.
no, but I'm saying, like, if it was, like, just shift it, if it was midnight to midnight, instead of 6 to 6, it would follow the way Chris is saying, the sign would follow that.
The thing
I
of
mean,
it
the
is,
statute says 12 midnight until 7 a.m., which is,
yeah, some of the signs go
You
through
know.
the day and stuff. So, and I
Or
understand the
that's not-
confusion.
That's not directly what this is talking about, though. That part that it's talking about is for the,
overnight parking.
yeah. So I don't think that this part directly falls under
No,
that
because
section
that only
15,
says,
318.
yeah, that's an exception to overnight parking.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I'm
overnight
saying. I don't
parking
think that
Right.
this is anywhere clearly laid out. This is another one that's saying, just like with harboring, it's not clearly laid out anywhere. The ordinance says, like, you're following the signs that the municipality erects, and that is the law. Like, it doesn't point to anywhere in the law that explains, like, oh, some are 6, some are 8, and this is how it works. It's saying you're following the signs. So, I mean, I don't know.
And as far as harboring, we talked about that too, and then when Flowbird came in, you know, when it first came in, that app, people were like, oh yeah, that's great, and I heard it too. Oh yeah, you can park there all day long as long as you keep paying with the app.
Do it all the time.
Well,
It's
John
constant.
and I, after John looked through all of the ordinances for me, there is no exception for Flowbird in the ordinance.
I know.
So it must have been an
But
administrative.
I remember hearing somebody saying, use Flowbird. I remember somebody in the city touting using Flowbird for that reason though.
That continued. So, I mean, we need, again, that's another thing that I feel should be in the.
What I do when they do that and they show me that they've parked there all day long and they paid for it through that, I say, okay, here's your chance. I'm going to, dismiss this, but you're not going to get this in the future because you're only supposed to park for 2 hours at a time.
And I do the same thing.
John dismisses them.
Yep.
So it's not consistent.
I dismiss them too, but give them a warning.
I do too,
Don't
but
do it again.
I give them a warning too, because it is a limit to 2 hours. But I know that people were at the courthouse who were, even before Flowbird, were running out and feeding
running out,
meters.
yeah. But I warn them, I give them, but this is your warning that you don't do it again. If you do it again, you're going to get the ticket.
I have a problem with Thornton Park, those
Oh,
tickets
Jesus.
coming in. I hate that,
1 hour
Thornton
park.
Park. I moved my car and I did my and
1 hour doesn't even give me time to sniff the roses.
I know.
There are. Guy was up there with my dog one time walking, and this guy had one of those, orange or yellow pythons.
Oh my God.
Walking his python.
Walking
and
his
then looked at my dachshund like, there's a snack for you right there. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Walking his python?
Python.
I'm taking my
just
python out for a
my
walk
mother would have
today.
fainted right on the spot. Oh my God. And my dog's like, son of a bitch, we're out of here.
So what are we doing about harboring?
So,
Because I don't think I dismiss them all. To me, it's like feeding the meter.
It is feeding the meter, and that's what I tell them that.
it's the same, yeah.
No notice.
See,
It's the same thing, but then the problem is there are no, like, Flowbird lets you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with, like, how are people supposed to know, like, what the sign means, right? If I can't get the 5 of you to agree on what the sign means, like, how does, John, whatever over here, know how to do it? The same thing with Flowbird, like, right?
There are some signs that say 2 hour limit.
Yes.
There should be
it says
signs
for 2
everywhere.
hours, but it doesn't say that's the limit. It just says for 2 hours. Parking permitted for 2 hours, upon payment to park. So they figure that they pay for 2 hours and then they can come out and pay for 2 hours more.
Yeah, I don't
all we
think
got.
harboring is clearly defined everywhere. So I would like, in some of these, any changes that we're making, I'm gonna feed them up the chain and then I'll come back, because it sounds like harboring was an administrative decision that you're
We
dismissing.
were told when
Yeah.
I came in, it said they can park all day.
Yep, that's what we were told.
So I would say
Yeah.
Yes, with
Keep it-
Flowbird.
Second floor.
Yep, they did.
the mayor at the time.
The mayor?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was, 2013, 2014, so. So I would
To the
say,
deputy
Minor or
mayor.
Driscoll?
There was-
Stephanie.
Minor? Because I go back to Driscoll.
hold out.
Yeah.
I go back even farther than that.
Yeah, but I mean, I started PVB back in Driscoll days.
Yeah, so-
I think I'm the only one here
So
now.
harboring, is everybody right now sustaining
Yeah,
if
I
it's
know.
at the meter?
The oldie.
No, you're not right.
I mean, if they're
If
putting
they're feeding the meter and printing out the thing, are you sustaining those as harboring?
yes, yes.
And what about app? It sounds like you guys were giving one warning.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're
I'm
just
just letting it go.
dismissing, and you,
Inconsistent.
So I would like to either a warning and then you're taking the time to review the other tickets in Ames to make sure that they haven't had one, and you're putting the warning in the decision, or we're dismissing.
Although the statute says you're not supposed to look at previous
Says you can look
tickets.
after
After what?
you issue a decision.
But how am I supposed to, if I've got it in front of me, how am I supposed to
Yeah.
look and say, I see you've been given that warning
I've already
before?
warned this person.
Yeah. All right. So
And
we
you
want.
look at passes and you see
Yeah.
someone's parked there for 8
Right.
hours a day.
Yeah.
5 days a week.
Okay, so feeding the meter is sustained. All right, so for right now, I would like any electronic to dismiss, and I will get back to everybody, okay?
All right.
No warning, just,
Flowbird are dismissed?
yeah. Well, I guess you could still put the warning
Still
in
put the
there.
warning in there,
It
yeah.
can't hurt, maybe some more people stop doing it.
We developed some language for that.
So that everybody, I think I've told everybody, but the text to pay option, you don't have to download the app, you can text to
Right.
pay, and that does sync to the passes now, so there shouldn't be.
You can text instead of using the app anymore?
Yeah, you can text.
Yeah, there's
the
a
number.
text on the number. on the-
Really?
Yep.
Really?
It's still the same 35-cent
Okay.
service charge that the Flowbird app has.
Okay.
But,
Leah, are you going to give us that what you're doing?
yeah, I'm gonna give it all this. And, well, I'm gonna give it to you, and then I'm gonna follow up, the next time I meet with anybody.
So what are we doing when we get all these things that the pay station wasn't working?
I dismiss.
I just missed.
I've been dismissing them, but I've been telling them to go get the Flowbird app. Well, I don't say go, I said the Flowbird app is available for
Yeah.
downloading on your smartphone. It
And there
permits.
should be fewer and fewer. I mean, we've been getting a lot fewer calls. I just,
Yeah.
last Wednesday or this Wednesday, they haven't been ticketing for overtime downtown. And they just restarted when I got, because this batch of 75 meters is almost all in, bringing us to 225. And then the text to pay is showing up in Flowbird. So they have not for months been regularly ticketing downtown for overtime. So they're restarting it now, the parking checkers. And so far we haven't had a ton of complaints. At some point, when I feel good about going back to the meter log, which is I think what you guys used to check.
It was very bad, though. It was never
Yeah, it
kept
was
up.
bad.
It was not
Yeah,
up to
so I'm
date.
working on it, but we're just like we just migrated the SNH drive. They're making us migrate right now. I have it like in a Dropbox thing. They're making us migrate that. So once I have it migrated and everything up, and all staff really trained on inputting it, then I would say you should look at that. And if it's not in there, I would leave it at your discretion whether you think it's plausible. At some point, I can go in and see what meters were broken, but again, because of the volume, we have over 300 meters. So, this one could be out of paper, this one could, not be accepting quarters, and it's just really cumbersome. So I would rather you use your discretion, and then I will get everybody access to that meter log soon so you can check it.
Okay.
Alright, so we're good on harboring, we're good on pay station, broken, we're good on handicap. I want everybody on the same page with the odd even. Because I don't think, while I'm fine with everybody, utilizing judicial discretion for cases, I don't think it works if some of us are interpreting the law one way and some are the other. So obviously, right now, Mary, you're the outlier. I guess
Mary, quite contrary.
any other points?
Notice.
Any other points you'd like to bring up, Mary, before we put it to
I rest my
a
case.
vote? Okay.
Due process.
Yeah, all right. So then I'm going to update the website, and I'll try and think of any other options I can come up with. We'll see if that helps, but I'm going to continue to monitor it. I would even go so far as to be like, hey, parking checkers, don't issue tickets those days, but then, sometimes it does become a problem if you have people parking on both sides of the street, if the street is narrow, or during the winter months.
They were parking in my neighborhood on both sides of the street. A fire truck could not get through it.
Yeah.
A regular car couldn't get through it. And I yelled at some of them, and I said, do you realize what you're doing? You're putting people's lives in danger. You're supposed to only park on one side. As I'm walking, and all the neighbors do know me, they,
You don't get out of your car.
Well, after working for a fire department, you know how I feel about all that kind of stuff, A minute makes a difference to somebody's life.
Yeah.
It happens all the time in the university.
Oh, terrible.
There are times when there's football games, there's no way a parking.
No.
Fire truck.
No way. That's when they should haul them off with the tow truck.
And they don't.
No.
I need a sign in front of my house to tell people not to park in front of my house, because then I can't see back out.
Yeah.
Actually, where the mayor lives, because he lives kitty corner from me, prior to building that house, there was a terrible fire. A guy was building, and his dogs and him died in that fire.
It's awful.
It was awful. I remember running out, and there was nothing you could do. You just stood there. It was awful.
Well, I used to see the pictures of the aftermath, and the investigators would show us what it looks like.
Wait, we gotta do the rest of the cases, Karen. Oh, really? Yeah. All right, so, all right, then,
Donation.
we're sustaining.
Yeah.
Everybody but Mary wants to sustain the odd even, the one.
Yep.
And the gentleman.
Yep.
Okay, so we're doing it from, what was the date? Is 6 p.m.?
Yes.
What was the date the last time? It was at 6 p.m.?
Yes.
That determines if right now is an odd or even day.
Yes, correct.
Sean Pearson.
Oh, Sean's my neighbor.
Is he?
Yeah.
I remember when I read it in the paper, I thought,
I'm gonna just start
He came at
firing,
me when he did that.
these around.
I think I already looked at them and made my
Did you
decision.
look at them and make notes? Oh,
They should have my decision in there.
Yeah, I
If you
thought,
already looked and you made your decision, that's fine.
if my decision is not on there, it's because it was mine.
right, I'm not
Yep.
defending this.
I looked at that.
Yeah, don't tell people that they can file an Article 78. What is wrong with you? Just trying to make my life even harder. Yeah.
I did. I looked at this one.
Way.
I can't even actually use it.
Okay. I looked at this one.
It's like it's already painted. Yeah, no.
I've looked at this one.
These are the ones for the principal.
Yeah, it's like that guy.
Principal doesn't hold up in court.
I'm sorry, what's the principle?
I don't know what the
that they
principal.
want their day in court. They want to be.
They got it.
Especially because all of these, there were no live hearings on the first round. So they've never been face to
Okay.
face, like telling.
I looked
their
at all
story.
those. I came in on Monday, checked them all out.
You were good.
I was good.
Well, let's see.
Looks like I looked at all these, because
You know what I like is when the fire department breaks their window and puts the hose through the window, and then the people can't leave till the fire's out. You should hear those people bitch. Too bad. Shouldn't have parked there.
no, I was.
These are the ones that.
I'll never forget that. I went out
awful.
afterwards and I bought,
The fire extinguisher.
because I have a ranch.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, but my bedroom is over the garage.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way I could get out of my
No.
bedroom. There just isn't. And that bothered me very, very much after
I have a
watching
fire
the fire.
detector in each room in my house, and I have fire extinguishers in almost every room in my house. And I remember when I was selling one of my houses, that one buddy looked at it and said, "Did she have a fire someplace?" I said, "No, she works at a fire department, so she's paranoid about it." I mean, I really am.
Yeah.
And I even have my dogs, I have a crate, and that's their bedroom. I put them in that at night, so if there's ever a fire, I know where my dogs are. I can pick up the crate and run out of the
Right,
house.
right.
Because the animals will hide on you, and you can't find them. And that's sad,
That's a
too.
good idea, because Molly would, and I mean, Molly's going to be 14 next month. She's doing good. Thank you, Lord. Thank
Yeah,
you.
mine's 15 now.
But the cat would hide.
Yes.
And
They will, and so I just trained them that it's time to go to bed, and they go to bed, and they get a treat, and I shut the door, and I know where they are,
yeah, that's a good idea.
especially because they're little.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, I am, so, and anybody who parks anywhere near a fire hydrant like that, sorry, there's no excuse whatsoever.
No, that,
But when they block the street, and I'm like, somebody's having a party, I said, I understand, you can park on the next street, you know, you just gotta walk a block. Right now, you're making ambulances, fire trucks, nobody's getting through.
and then the guy up the street had a fire.
Yeah, I mean.
His house wasn't totaled. I mean, it was a mess, but it wasn't totaled. But what the fire people did,
Heard on the street. That's one of your.
kitty corner for me is a fire hydrant. They went all the way down the street to that one. I was wondering if the one across the street doesn't.
Well, the different hydrants, they know how much the pressure is that they get through it, so the one in front of yours might not have as much pressure as the other one.
Oh, is that why they did that?
And
'Cause they
sometimes
ran
you'll see
it
them,
all the way down the street.
sometimes they'll have different colors on them to let you know, so the firemen, when they pull up, they know.
Okay.
You know, because I have one in front of my house.
Yeah.
At least that's how it used to be when I worked there,
Yeah.
you know, and they also might know it's not working. There might be something inoperable about your fire hydrant, they know.
This one.
Yeah, because they ran it, and I never even knew that the hose was that long.
Oh, yeah, but it's...
All the way down the end of the street and all the way up.
It's all about the pressure. It's
Wow.
not all of them have the same pressure as everybody else. Yeah, I even get a discount on my insurance because I have a fire hydrant right in front of my house. Yeah,
Mine's right, kitty corner.
then you might, because it's usually so many feet from a fire hydrant.
Well, I know that the insurance wanted to know where one was at one period of time.
So if you live out in the country, don't even have fire hydrants, you pay more in insurance because they have to put it in tanks, bring it all in.
Yeah.
And then that's why a lot of them, the farmers keep their ponds and stuff because they fill the tanks, the fire trucks fill their tanks up so that they can, with water.
Right.
That's the biggest thing in the rural
Right.
area, especially because most farms don't have city or town water. It's usually
Yeah.
all on,
Yeah.
regular, but yeah. See all the crazy things I learned when I was
Yeah, but that's
dispatching?
good
It all
to
helped
know.
me when I was
Yeah.
litigating cases. Want to do a liquid manure case with me? I did one of those, and I was
Liquid
asking
manure?
questions because I know all about liquid manure, and the other people were like, the other defendants didn't even ask anything because they were letting me go at it. Oh yeah, sure, and it stinks worse than regular manure. To let you know, it's bad news. Oh, you know, so you got the Horgan farms out there probably in Elbridge.
What do you use it for?
Well, instead of having to go out and having to spread your manure every day, okay, which farmers used to have to do every day, is that it's put into a big holding tank, and there's chemicals put in it. It turns into liquid, so it can stay there for longer, which means it really ferments, okay? And then you spread it out with like a sprinkler thing. But there was a farmer up in Spafford. It's got a lot of methane gas around it and other gases too, so it's got to be very well ventilated. And a great farmer, been doing this for years. He went in and the gas was too much and it killed him just like that.
Really?
Got inhaled Fescos. Yep. And they
Oh, my
wondered where
God.
the family was looking for him, couldn't find him, and found him there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's got to be very well ventilated. And his place was. It's just that day it just really got
Wow.
really bad. So. And it does stink, and you get to get a permit to operate it from the DEC to have it, make sure you're doing the right thing so it doesn't burst and all that kind of stuff. The DEC looks at it. And then if you're a good farmer, you don't do it when the wind's blowing next to your neighbors. You make sure that it's a nice day. But there's all these rules and regulations that the DEC sets up. But there's also the rules of being a good neighbor. You know, we had one call up that said, my daughter's graduating, we're having a party. Would you make sure you don't, spread any manure these days? Well, yeah, no problem.
Wow.
Not a problem. Other farmers do it anyhow, Depends how good a neighbor they are to us, too, all right?
And my dad doesn't have any farms near him.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can still smell.
Regular manure, you don't even really notice with that stuff because it ferments so much. But Horgan's also, milking 2,000 cows?
Where are they?
They're all over the place in Elbridge. They got thousands of acres. They've probably got 10,000 acres. Horgan farms. And Elbridge is one of their big ones. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just outside of the building.
He's huge.
Yeah, you can smell manure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Oh,
say
yeah.
50% of that.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you live in a down spot, it kind of just covers you down in the valley. So, yeah.
So I'll
I won
get
my
those
liquid
done
manure
on
case.
Monday.
Yeah, I'll leave them down there.
You train
I
for
wrote
that
notes,
stuff. Nobody's going to train you or teach you. It's just
When
something you
you're
got to
done
know.
with them, put the decisions and then give them all to Cecilia.
There you go.
That she
Yeah, yeah.
makes
So that's why
sure
I did all that
has
for the
all
defense work. I did all
reimbursement
that.
And that copies are attached and aims.
A lot of things other people don't know. is that
On
when
all
a
of those-
municipality passes an ordinance, it has to be filed within 3 days of the Secretary of State. If it's not filed with the Secretary of State within 3 days, the ordinance is null and void.
Email
So I
password,
had,
come down
I got
and
rid of
reset
a
it,
couple of
and
them
then,
that way too, because of the fact that the town.
Did you have any other time other than today?
That's interesting.
I only know that because I had to
Yeah,
sit
tell me how much time for today and I'll log.
dispatcher. Because people go, how do you know this stuff? From a previous life is how I know that stuff.
And I'll work on,
I had a motorcycle case too, and they
I'll
were
get you
asking all the
Syracuse
questions, and Charlie
Workforce
Major
Central
never
Access.
took-
'cause
Yes, I
Major
do.
have
So we get up
log
to
in.
argue. He goes, "Do you still have that orange motorcycle of yours, Karen?" And the other guy goes, "You're a biker, babe. That's how you know how to ask these questions." And I go, "Thanks, Charlie. I no longer have that motorcycle."
Cool.
But he did. I'm like, "No." I said, "When I became a mother, I decided no more motorcycle riding, Charlie."
One of my neighbors used to have a beautiful Harley, and he used to take us out, or me out anyway. Then he sold it, and I can't go anymore.
I loved it, but I decided that once I had my daughter, I needed to be a little bit more conservative.
I was always going to get my license, I never did.
Yeah.
Last year, I was even toying with it, and I don't know.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
I can still get on.
What'd you do, go through OCC?
For getting a motorcycle license?
Yeah.
No, I just got on a motorcycle and went to the DMV and took the license.
Wow.
That's all. And I used,
Yeah, but-
and I'll admit, I used to drive illegally since the age of 11 on the roads in the country, and my parents knew it and they didn't give a shit. And the troopers
We
were
used
always
to do
trying
it
to
out
get
at
us.
camp on the
And
back
it's like, you
roads.
can't get me because I can go into a field and I'm gone. But back then there was nobody on the road. And it was,
Wild bunch here.
Right?
All right, we're done.
Everyone pushing your chairs for me.